Yeah, man. This devil vocab, he's a big time plagiarizer. I was watching Elder Pastor's video, and pretty much, the way he's doing that thing, whatever you call it, the whole time I'm like, man, this guy sound just like Dabu Seven. Like he'll find a character that he likes and he'll take, their style and then just try to assimilate it into his. Now the elder pastor said he sounded like James, like James T. Kirk or whatever the hell his name is, which I couldn't remember his name, but his name is William Shatner. Just came to mind just before I started the lesson. And one thing that devil was doing was doing the same thing that he accuses us of doing. He's going to one scripture and then going to another scripture, going to the Old Testament and the New Testament. He calls that Hebrew hopscotch, and then we when we do it, it's Hebrew hopscotch, but when he does it, he could do that. A bunch of hypocrites. And that guy is a big joke anyway. Elder Pastor, if you haven't seen the video, go watch it. Very edifying video. And you'll see that this guy vocab doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Reincarnation is in the scriptures, and the reason why they don't want to accept reincarnation is because they know that whatever they have done, they're gonna have to pay for. So I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Chakudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this lesson is These Devils Have Known for Years. And pretty much I was watching the video the elder out of Dallas, the elder Yashawamba was doing on the AI and the technology and all that. And for some reason, the Planet of the Apes came into mind. And I started thinking, you know what, these devils, they've been known for years that their time is coming to an end. This was Planet of the Apes came out about 56 years ago, you know, and way back then, when the truth was still, you could say, in its infancy stage. And what I mean by that was, it was not well known. It was just starting to take root, you know. This is around the time. I'm not sure exactly what year the elder Abba Bivens, started to gather, the three pillars of One West, which is King Masha, High Priest Arian, High Priest Shaikwab. I'm not sure exactly what year that was, but when this movie came out, this is around the time when Elder Albert Bivens was out there teaching, you know. And way back then, you had this guy Rod Serling, which was the one of the main writers, I believe it was, for the Twilight Zone. Very good writer, and him and another individual by the name of Michael Wilson, they wrote these Planet of the Apes movies based off of a book by some individual or a novel by some individual named Pierre Boulez, you know, and pretty much, like I said, this came out in 1968. And what you're looking at here is a depiction of the last scene in the movie where he was going to a place that was labeled by the apes, which really represent Israel, the Forbidden Zone. And that's heavy because the Forbidden Zone is a place where you can't go. Let's type in the word forbidden. Let's get the forbidden meaning. Um, Let me just check something real quick. Just bear with me. Okay. Jeremiah 50. Let me just get this real quick because it just came to mind. So I want to get this. All right. So the word forbidden, not allowed, banned. Mm, a forbidden place is one that you are not allowed to visit or enter. And they understood that this place would be known as the forbidden zone because it would be destroyed. There would be nothing here but desert creatures after the smoke goes out many, many years. So this right here is not going to, this is not going to actually be here. You know, the everything that you see, every building, every structure, statue, car, truck, whatever it is that's on the soils of America, mountains, rocks, everything is going to be totally wiped out. And they know this. You know, this is why back in 1968 they would make a movie like this, you know, and show you that Esau was what in loincloths and animal skins, you know, and they were pretty much brought down to a base, you know, which where they belong, you know, to a base, a state, you know, and the so-called apes were in an elevated, highly intellectual spot, you know, and they know that the Israelites will, you know, once again rule, you know, the planet, and that's why they would make movies like this. All right, now the thing that's going to bring the total desolation and devastation of this place was this is a Planet of the Apes. Then you had the second one or the sequel, which is known as Beneath the Planet of the Apes, where in that one they show you that they were that the individuals were in New York, you know, but when the destruction comes, you're not going to know where one state ended and the other state began. But it's just to give you an idea. And one of the main things that they have in this one on the ground is what? The missile, the nuclear missile. And in this scene, the nuclear missile has the eye and the thigh, the beginning and the end. So when the Lord gave these devils this technology, that was the beginning of their might, but it was also the end of their world. And this is heavy because that devil, J. Oppenheimer, or Robert Oppenheimer, he was plagued by visions, you know, and he saw the devastation. And the very first thing that he said that came to his mind when he saw the testing of that atomic bomb was, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," which comes, you know, from which this devil was you know highly learned. You know, he knew Sanskrit. You know, it's not many people, you know, get into that unless you were born into that, you know. And he was quoting from the Elamite book called the Bhagavad Gita, you know, and he said that I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, because when the Lord gave these devils this technology, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. So way back in 1968, you know, they show you that this place was destroyed. It was called the Forbidden Zone, which he didn't know he was still in America. He thought he was, you know, in some far out galaxy. And in the second one in 1970, they show you what it was that they used to destroy it, even though they didn't really mention it in this one. But here he said, you bastard, you did it. You blew it up. And that's they know that eventually the destruction of America is inevitable and it's coming. And then the forbidden zone, as we read here for the definition, which what is a forbidden place? A forbidden place is one that you are not allowed to visit or enter. All right. So I just want to go here to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 13. It says, "Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited." See, so when the Lord brings his wrath upon this place, or his indignation, which is his righteous anger, this place will never, ever again be inhabited. But it shall be what? Wholly desolate. All right. It says, "Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues, because this destruction by way of thermonuclear destruction is one of the plagues of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and how he's going to destroy this place. All right. Let me just pull this up real quick, and then we'll go back. Okay, let me just type in. Okay. And let me go back here. So let's read this again. Matter of fact, let's look up the word inhabited, and let's look up the word wholly desolate. Inhabited, yashab, means to sit. It will not be sitting. In other words, it will never be colonized again. There will never be anything, any civilization that will be established here. The only thing that will be here are desert creatures. To dwell, remain, sit, abide. Okay, so it will never be inhabited, because to inhabit is to sit. But here you have the word la'ah, which means no or not. No or not sit, or no or not inhabited. All right. And it shall be holy, which is kal. Kal is all. And then desolate is the word shamamah. Devastation, waste, desolation. And what's going to cause that? The Lord, didn't he say that I have created the waster to destroy? Just in case, for some of you newer members that may not know, or newer, students that may not know, Isaiah 54 and 16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. An ancient smith was one that created weapons. He created weapons. He created other things, but one of the things that he created was weapons for the warriors. So this particular smith in this particular scripture now refers to these scientists that are the ones that make the weapons, the modern day weapons, which are pretty much mostly nuclear or, some type of missile technology. It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And what was the instrument for the work of these scientists? The missile. And the place that they went to was Los Alamos, New Mexico. And the thing was called the Manhattan Project. Now, they were not in New York. New York, Manhattan is the island of New York. And the word Manhattan itself, means the place where we get the bows. And the bow is where? The bow is the instrument used to shoot out the arrow. And what is that? That is the silo. And then you have the arrow, which is what? The missile. Okay. And I have created what? The waster to destroy. So these missiles were created to destroy. And that's why he said, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Because the word, he said worlds, I believe, with an S, which represents ages, eons, which is Esau's age and the other nation's age, meaning their rulerships that Yahushua is going to take down, because he is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right. So going back here, devastation. So it shall be holy. Kal Shamamah, holy, desolate, wholly destroyed. Okay. Now, let's continue reading on. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. This is not dealing with ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon was taken down by Darius the Mede. It was a hostile takedown. It was just the nobles were drunk. The vice regent was drunk. Their women were drunk. They were, they had eaten food, and, Darius was just able to roll up in there and take them out. It says, all ye that bend the bow. What is that? That's dealing with the ones that have the nuclear capabilities, these silos. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, because every arrow, which is these missiles, will be shot out. Matter of fact, let's go here to 2nd Ezra 16 and 16. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Um, just bear with me. 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, which is what? The silos. Because in the silos, which you have the missile, there is a control panel that goes along or attached to that, where you have these different individuals, military men, that are ready at any time to launch those missiles at the turn of a key and a push of a button. All right, so the Lord is the one that bent that bow or gave him that technology. His arrows, which are the missiles that he shooteth, are sharp and shall not miss. Why? Because the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to be in them. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, see? And there's no coincidence that these devils, when they built these missiles, they built missiles for long range devastation or destruction. You know, some of those missiles have a range of like what, 6,000 miles, 5,500 miles, or something like that. Then, as time goes on, you have better and better technology, faster and faster technology, you know, that pretty much is ramping up because the Lord has given them that power. I'm gonna read this scripture that the brother put up. 2nd Ezra 15 and 41 to 44. Fire and hail and flying swords. What are those flying swords? Those missiles. Sword is what the Lord gave Esau as a blessing, and their sword will come in the form today of their missiles. You know, you went from swords, spears, and all of that to guns, machine guns. You know, the Gatling gun, all the way up into your tanks and all the way up into your modern day missiles today. It says, and they shall break. I'm sorry. So in many waters that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters, which is their militaries, and they shall break down the cities and walls, right, which is the destruction. And the military is what? These missiles. That is the Most High's, the weapons of the Lord's armory. Mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows, and their corn, because everything is going to be wiped out. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. Yeah, because when those missiles are shot and they start giving those, the annunciation, that this is not a test, Russia and China and Pakistan and, India and, France and so on and so forth have shot the missiles, and, they shall come to her and besiege her, because those missiles are going to be everywhere. The star, which is the missiles, and all wrath shall they pour out upon her, right? Because this is the Lord's indignation. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her, which that goes hand in hand with Revelation chapter 18. All right. So let's go back. Oh, matter of fact, let's read on, because it spoke about the plague. Behold, back in 2nd Ezra 16 and 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Yeah, because the Lord set it up. The fire is kindled. In the scripture in Job 20, it says a fire not blown. And that fire not blown is what? In the form of those missiles. Because you're not going to sit there and find kindling wood and spark a fire. The fire is already going to be in those missiles. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth, meaning Esau's power structure. All right, their foundation. All right, and that's what they're going to do. So when they created those missiles, they created them to be judged. Now, Alice Bailey, I believe her name was, Externalization of the Hierarchy, which is a book that she wrote, said that in there, the missiles were only, created to scare the people, and to accept in this new world order. They don't really plan on using them, but they will use them. And to show you that they know that that's exactly what's going to happen, they have movies like Planet of the Apes and other movies that show you the nuclear devastation and that it will eventually come. But they thinking that they're going to be able to, to survive it. And the international bankers and those that are in these bunkers around the world, they will make it, but they will make it to go into slavery because they're thinking that they will be able to, set up a continuity of government and that Esau will continue to rule forever. And that's not the case. All right. So, second Ezra's, okay, we read that. So let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Shout against her round about, she hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done, do unto her, because there's no way for all of the blood that has been shed of the Israelites in this land to be cleansed but by that fire. You can gather all of the Edomites that are here today and take them out, and that wouldn't be enough because there was a lot of hundreds. You're talking about 500 plus years of rape, robbery, murder, and many other things that they've done, and there's no way to get redemption from that except for the Lord destroying this place and then the remnant that's around the world going into captivity, and then repopulate their Edomite nation. Then even more vengeance on those children, which will be the ones that are not here will come back. And this is one thing that these wacky tacky, especially vocab, he hates when we talk about he's gonna have to pay for the shit that he's done. And that dude is the biggest plagiarist. He mocks people. He not mocks, but he mimics people. He sees, he'll take qualities from everybody that he's around, mold his character around it. And that's why we believe he's a Amalekite. Them small hats, that's exactly what they do. They take from everybody, and they make a big hodgepodge, a big stew, and then and the people of the world after a period of time will think that they actually created these things when they didn't. It says, cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. Yeah, because it's coming. For fear of the oppressing sword. What's that oppressing sword? These missiles. They shall turn everyone to his people, because the nations will go back to their nation. Because the ones that are left here on the shores of America will be destroyed. And they shall flee everyone to his own land. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria had devoured him. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. Yeah, and that's what happened. Continued to be scattered over the years by the Greeks, by the and even today, when the here and even before, you had Esau selling off of Israelites of the northern kingdom being sent to Spain, Portugal, and other places, which separated families. Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. And the Lord will punish America. All right, America is Babylon the Great. This to the modern day Babylon, and that's why you have some scholars that will agree that this Babylon here is speaking about. Some of them may even say America. You had Stan Johnson of the Prophecy Club years ago. He quoted a whole list of scriptures that we bring out on the regular, dealing with America being Babylon the Great, because they know, they've done documentaries on on these missiles and the devastation that they hold. The late great planet Earth. I believe that was I forget his name. Forget what his name is, but I believe in that one. Either Rush Limbaugh or Orson Welles, one of them, brought out that Zechariah 14, is speaking about specifically of nuclear warfare, nuclear fire, because there's nothing that can make the skin and the tongue and the eyes just melt off of somebody like that. And they show you that in movies like Terminator, Hal Lindsey, the water brother, Hal Lindsey, right, the water. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation. I just want to get straight to the point. Verse 20. Okay, so it's not this one. Let's go to Jeremiah 51. Let's see if that's it. 51 and 25. Behold, I am against the old destroying mountain. Yeah, because you destroyed the heritage of the Most High. And when you put your hands on us, the Israelites, you offended the Most High, even though He set you up as a whipping stick to us. You went overboard. You went overboard. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 15. I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased. Right? He was upset with us, and they helped forward the affliction, and you went overboard with it. So going back to Jeremiah 51:25, behold, I am against the old destroying mountain, save the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai, which destroys all the earth. And you have destroyed all the earth with your technology, with all of these different inventions that you've created. The scriptures call the hurtful works. You got plastic everywhere, and plastic is total. I mean, that stuff is horrible. And you're polluting the air, the waters, the minds of the people, the food. I mean, it's just like every day that goes by, you go outside, you look up, you got the C to the H to the E to the M trails everywhere. I'm talking about ramped up. You'll see about 20, in one area, just crisscrossing each other, creating all different types of, it's just horrible, man. Just horrible. Some days you can't even think straight because it's all this goddamn pollution and everything that's in the air, It says, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rock, right? Because right now you're on top. And the Lord is going to kick you off of that throne. That's why it says, let's get this real quick and we'll come back. In Isaiah 47 and 1. Isaiah 47 and 1. Come down. See why? Because when you have to come down, you're in an exalted place. Come down and sit in the dust. When you coming down from a lofty position and you have to sit in the dust, means you're being degraded. You're being downgraded. You're being what's the word? Demoted. And sit in the dust, meaning sit in confusion. Because since you've been in power, you're wise, you're able to conduct yourself and move about and create different things. But there's going to come a point where all of that's going to be taken away from you. And this goes hand in hand with Isaiah, the 14th chapter, where it speaks about the Lord has broken the scepter of the wicked. It says, O virgin daughter of Babylon, because America has not been touched by a major war on the soils of America. I mean, sure, you had your different wars, but nothing like has happened, in places like Iraq, places like, right now out there in Palestine, Europe at one time got rocked by all type of, bombs that were dropped and devastated Japan, so on and so forth. America has never really been touched by a major war like that. Sit on the ground. There is no throne. So your power, your rulership is up. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So back in Jeremiah 51:25, it says, Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks. You're going to be brought down completely, and will make thee what? A burnt mountain. And what's going to cause that burning? Those missiles, that fire not blown, that's going to, that's going to destroy you. And the word there for burnt is sharapah, which is burning. Here it says cremation, burning. Let's see if there's anything else. Salakia. A burning with fire, burning conflagration, which is a fancy way of saying with fire. Setting on fire. All right. A mountain burnt up. Right. And what does a mountain represent? A mountain represents rulership. It represents governments. This is why you have your G8s, your G7s, your G20s, or whatever, where all the major heads of these major governments come to meet together. That's called a summit. And what is a summit? The top of a mountain. So a mountain is a representation of governments of the world. And America is that top government that rules over all other governments on the planet. Let's go. And that's why everybody's in bed with her. Even though it seems like they're against her, they're all in bed with her, including Russia. Revelation 17. But there's going to come a point where the Lord is going to put a different spirit on the Russians, and they're going to destroy you. Revelation 17:18. And the woman, which is a harlot, the first verse, which is America, which thou sawest, is that great city. It's not just a city, it's a great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. You see, and this is why you have something called Americanization, among all these different nations. The nations didn't come up with the building of skyscrapers. That came from America, Chicago specifically. There was in Chicago, there was an insurance company that built the first skyscraper, which was 10 stories high, and it towered over everything. And then from there, they just started building. That's why when you go to all these different nations on the planet, they're building buildings like you have in America, which they call skyscrapers, and they have a great influence over them. And they reign over the nations of the world. That's why they bring democracy. They bring so-called aid to these nations, and the major thing that they're pushing is their influence on the kings and the peoples of the earth. So the Lord is going to destroy you on many levels for that. Let's see if we have anything else here. So let's go. Let's read this again, and then let's read another couple verses. It says, Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner. And this goes also hand in hand with Isaiah 34 and the very ending of Isaiah 13, nor a stone for foundations, because this is going to be a flat land, plain. But thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So there's never, ever going to be any civilization that's going to be reestablished here. It's going to be worse than the Forbidden Zone, because you're not going to see any mountains or any of this. This is going to be flat all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast and from the North to the South. It's going to be totally devastated. So these devils have always known, because you're not going to make a movie like this if you don't know that this place eventually is destined to be destroyed. And then in the second one, the sequel, you had the missile. Then you had Alpha and Omega, which is the title that Yahweh Shai has, the I and the Ta. Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. When you got this technology, that was the beginning of your bully stage on the nations. And it's also going to bring your end, because the Lord is going to use this to destroy you, to devastate you. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.